Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm Alexandra Docheva, a registered nurse, investor, holistic coach, and author of the book, It Really Is Simple, a holistic approach to self-confidence. This video is about vegan cookbooks or recipe magazines and what to watch for in these materials if you're not yet in the habit of creating your own recipes. This is one of my favorite topics that patients keep bringing up, and with good reason. There are two main points I would like to bring to your attention with regards to vegan cookbooks today: product choices and preparation methods. Obviously, the recipes should all be plant-based if the book cover has the word vegan on it. However, I want to focus on ingredients first. Is the recipe calling for whole organic fruits, veggies, grains, legumes, or nuts, meaning ingredients coming directly from soil rich in minerals and low on pesticides? Or is it calling for pre-mixed, pre-packaged, pre-cooked products consisting of multiple ingredients, like the various cheese or meat substitute concoctions out there? Those are hardly whole food choices, guys. Most of them are heavily processed with preservatives mixed in. Please understand that you can eat plant-based and still end up consuming unhealthy food. For example, rice milk from the store has an expiration date 3 to 6 months from now, which is funny because my homemade organic rice milk lasts a week max. That's because I put no preservatives in it. Our household simple principle is this: if we see it advertised on TV, we don't touch it, and if we haven't purchased, combined, and prepared the ingredients ourselves when it comes to a meal that calls for more than one ingredient, guess what? That's right, we don't touch it, much less eat it. In a country where so much corruption is allowed in the food industry by a controlling government agency, you can understand why it isn't reasonable to entrust your health to companies that produce food made of multiple ingredients. Anything can be dumped in the mixture, and good luck with holding them accountable should your health become compromised over the long term. Take the well over 3,000 FDA-approved food additives as an example, most of which are forbidden in Europe for health concerns. The second point on vegan cookbooks I want to make today is about food preparation methods. Always pay particularly close attention to what you're told to do with oils, salt, and temperature settings in such books. For one thing, fried oil goes out the window if you wish to have healthy blood and blood vessels. Period. However, some recipes can be deceiving when they start with sauteing onions or garlic in some extra virgin olive oil for, say, 1 or 2 minutes, which seems okay, right? But then we begin adding the remaining ingredients, and depending on how many are involved and what they are, some get cooked for 5 to 10 minutes, the next one takes 10 to 15 extra minutes, and finally the last ingredient is added to the mix and cooked for another 5, 10, or 15 minutes. So adding all these little time slots together, we may easily end up with olive oil that has been thermally processed for half an hour to 45 minutes on the burner, or an hour to an hour and a half in the oven, as opposed to just 1 or 2 minutes as they make it look at the beginning of the cooking process, all right? Thermally processing oils makes them a cancer risk. So what can you do? I'll tell you what we do in our household. We modify such recipes by completely eliminating the olive oil or any oil from the ingredients during the cooking process and using filtered water instead. Once the meal is cooked and served on the plates, we then may dribble several drops of extra virgin olive oil. That way it is not thermally processed and our bodies get the actual benefit of extra virgin olive oil. Next, salt. The good news is that many of the recipes call for less salt than most people like to consume. As you may already know, high sodium consumption has been linked to hypertension, heart disease, and stroke, all of which belong into the cardiovascular disease category, also known as the #1 killer disease in the United States. We use absolutely minimal salt, and we only buy Himalayan pink salt for its quality. Salt is an ingredient that restaurants abuse on a massive scale, and that includes the few dedicated vegan restaurants out there as well. Again, there is nothing like purchasing and preparing your own. If a recipe in a cookbook tells you to salt things several times, simply modify. Lastly, What temperature settings are suggested in the recipe of your choice? Does it say to preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit? Well, let's not. The lower the temperature you use to cook your food, the better its nutrients are preserved. Granted, the best way to eat your vegetables is in a raw form. For those few types that need cooking, you want to set your oven no higher than 350 Fahrenheit, and some good nutritionists even suggest no higher than 300. The same applies to your burner temperature settings. In fact, once you get some steam going on your veggies, the best thing you can do is turn the burner knob to the lowest or next to lowest temperature setting and let the food cook slowly in order to preserve as many nutrients as possible. One final point: never wrap anything in aluminum foil to then place in the oven. Aluminum is a neurotoxin. You don't want it wrapped around your food at a high temperature for an hour or more. Same rule applies to aluminum pans. If you have such, throw them away and use stainless steel, glass, or high-quality cast iron pots instead. Your health is non-negotiable, so please do yourself a favor by doing it right. Thank you for watching.